Figured out. So it is what is it? 6:35, 6:34, and I will call the meeting to order for the Board of Education for the Sartell-St. Stevens School District, and I will look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Jason. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next is the recognition of visitors and public forum. Take just a note to, we're starting a new system to try to create better communication, create some opportunity to talk with those who are speaking with us each month. So we're still getting some of the kinks worked out of that, but so we'll have that in full force next month. But tonight we have 3 that signed up. So if you are online or watching us, you can sign up for that online by the Friday before our meeting. So we have 3 speakers tonight. The first is Steve Crone.
Good evening. Do I where is my talking? Yeah, okay. I wanted to take tonight as an opportunity just to share. A group of parents have been working for students and parents that are having trouble with some of the curriculum and the opt-out opportunities. We've put together a curriculum that can serve as an opt-out for them if they want to. Initial parents that were asking for that opt-out option, which they can do under statute, we're not getting a lot of assistance really from the district on that. Some of the respondents were almost just mean. So we worked together with some professionals. We put together a curriculum, and it looks like that would be more in the credit for learning option. But what I'm asking the school board tonight is to encourage the administration and teachers to work with parents on that to make that as seamless and as smooth of a process as they can. We wanted to provide that opportunity for those parents and students that want to opt out. Looking at it, what we put together, it may still be easier. We're finding out how to do an online option. I think that might be easier for the district too. So that's something we're actively looking at. But either way, I'd encourage the board to try to encourage the school to work with that and make that as seamless as we can. In doing that though, maybe reflect on, wouldn't it just be easier if we didn't teach controversial stuff? And the answer to that is probably yes. And so I wanted to make it clear again tonight what it is specifically with 9th grade English. And there's a few others that probably will be coming that is problematic. And when we teach the book Dear Martin and looking at the curriculum now, which we've all had a chance to look at this year, the reality is it's just a blatant, in your face political move by the board and by the school to be teaching that. It pushes an agenda, political agenda in school on the kids. And I would encourage the board to do everything you can to help us not do that. I think we should focus our education and encourage our teachers to focus education on high principles, high-minded stuff that isn't controversial, stuff we've been teaching for generations. I'd like to see us get back to that focus. And when we do that, hopefully we can stop meeting on situations like every 4th Monday and everything will be better in the district. So that's my ask of you guys tonight. Both look at those curriculums, encourage change there, and to make the opt-out until any of those changes can occur, a more seamless process for parents.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Chris Yasgar.
All right, board and Jeff, Katie, whoever else I'm missing. My topic tonight is district policies. I'm shocked and frustrated by the district's latest attempt to suppress public input. During the last work session, this board, aided by the superintendent, discussed your plan to alter and change your public open forum procedures. Immediately following the last meeting, I looked up and read District Policy 206, which I hope the entire board has done so as well. The policy that governs public open forum. It seemed obvious to me to exclude folks who are not residents of this district and require speakers to only speak about the approved agenda items that are on your list would violate your current policy. Fortunately, I have heard rumors that the administration, after public feedback, has realized this also. I am anxiously awaiting tonight the clarification on that point. Last meeting, Jeff presented this change as a way to open dialogue with the community. The board chair gushed how much better it would be if there was a two-way communication. This struck me as extremely disingenuous. I'm in direct communication with about a dozen people who have addressed this board since June 1st, most notably a 10-year-old girl. To my knowledge, we have never been contacted by a member of this board or the administration after speaking proactively. The district demands strict compliance by staff, students, and parents to the various handbooks that exist throughout the district. Yet it seems our board and administration picks and chooses which policies to abide by. If you're wondering why the community is losing confidence in this board and the school district, surely this failure, again, to comply with your own policies is the first place to look. I hope that the experience with the failed equity audit would have been a lesson enough, but here we are again. Something else has been bothering me. A couple meetings ago, a board member asked Jeff how the morale of his staff was. In my experience, it is all but pointless as the CEO of an organization, the morale of his indirect reports. In fact, it is bad practice. Jeff's limited interaction and power dynamics with regular staff restricts his interpretation to a very narrow view. The more effective and accepted procedure would be to conduct a survey direct to the entire district. Now, I know the district has a checkered past with surveys, but maybe that refund you're getting from Equity Alliance could be used to conduct a staff survey. If not, I'm sure you have an HR department that's capable of conducting it. To wrap up my comments tonight, I respectfully request that the board votes on any changes to the open forum period, even if only procedural. The public deserves to know where each member sits. Finally, Jeff, my sister, and Haley are still waiting for that publicly apology that you promised. Thank you.
Next up is Kelsey Yasber.
All right, my topic tonight is masking. I've realized an alarming trend in the district's masking policies. The district has made the controversial decision to take away the masking decision from the rightful responsible party, the parent. In addition, the district has changed their policies to allow hats and hoodies to be worn in our school. Let's paint a picture given these two policies. You have a student wearing a hat with a hoodie pulled tightly over it. Now throw on a mask. You have a student who can withdraw from their environment, not only mentally, but now physically, due directly to the combination of your new policies. Virtually, the only part of their face visible is their eyes. When is this district going to discuss the mental health damage these policies are inflicting on our children? What about our children with speech problems? They're falling more and more behind directly because of your masking policy. Finally, possibly the most frustrating aspect of this situation is two of the board members who voted and advocated to muzzle our children seem to ignore this standard personally. They have been seen attending church unmasked, grocery shopping unmasked, and attending social parties at local restaurants, you guessed it, unmasked. I guess it's rules for thee, but not for me.
Thank you. We'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Tricia. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on to our report section, and we'll begin with our superintendent report.
Thanks, Jerry. Over the last month, I've been able to spend time in our schools as well as the community to meet with, listen to, and build rapport with students, parents, residents, and staff. Some of the notable experiences this past month were attending the Sartell Chamber of Commerce meetings, Sartell Senior Connection. I did a presentation and a Q&A with those wonderful folks last week. Met with the leadership of the local Sartell Lions Club. Did some mystery reading at Oak Ridge Early Learning Center with the kids, and that was a blast. Multiple school visits with staff and Q&A with our teaching faculty and support staff. Several visits with students, visits and conversations with parents, business leaders, and residents. I've enjoyed all of those. Been some good suggestions and comments in those meetings as well. And then goal setting meetings with district administrators, as those have been outstanding as well. Also, we had the opportunity to attend some board meetings and work sessions for organizations which are members, such as C and then Benton Stearns Education District. A lot of good things happening in both of those areas. With respect to our enrollment report, we are at, as of October 1st, 4,088 students, K-12, about where we we predicted plus or minus about 10 to 15 kids either direction there. Update of the Educational Equity and Student Experience Committee, that's been shared via our website, but to share with the board and the public here tonight. Our committee met for the second time last week, a week ago from tonight. We narrowed our original topics down from 16 to 10 and really embedded those other 6 into those the remaining 10. And each of our 10 subcommittees were able to identify, as they rotated through, 5 of the most important areas from 5 of those 10 topics. Same thing will happen at the next meeting where they'll then shift to the other topics they had not yet met. So by the end, every one of the subcommittees will have had an ability to weigh in and provide input and recommendations on all 10 of those topics. We're going to take a break from our work in December and come back in January where we're going to craft recommendations and action steps to go along with those recommendations. I had a question a few meetings ago about the Riverview Playground, and I wanted to share that there is a plan to install, get that installed later this week. That's pretty exciting for our kids and families at Riverview. And then also, I know it was brought up tonight, and so I think it's a real fair thing to mention tonight. So after sharing the new protocol for open forum sign up, I did have some residents reach out and ask for some clarity, and I think that was really fair. So after the conversation, I want to share some modifications and points of clarity to that. As stated, all residents will have the opportunity to speak at open forum. In addition, all parents of students enrolled in our schools and district staff are also very much welcome to speak. I had a few residents mention that they might have topics to share that may or may not be listed as agenda items. So to avoid any confusion, this provision is going to be removed from the recommendation that I made last time. So if someone wants to have a conversation around any one topic, they're more than welcome to do that. In the end, the rationale for this new protocol really was to allow for increased two-way communication between residents, staff, and members of the board, as well as administration. I do want to share that it was helpful this week because I was able to visit and engage with some excellent conversation with some residents. I'm happy that they provided me at that time to do that. I thought that we accomplished a lot in those conversations. In addition, I want to share with the board that all residents who requested to speak tonight were able to speak. So I think that's important to add. The other thing that I think is also an important point is that with minimal exception, our open forum speakers, including this evening, have been respectful and courteous when addressing concerns to the board. And I just want to say that's appreciated. Thank you for doing that. I know not everyone always sees eye to eye, but when we come and have respectful discourse, it's very helpful. On to a different topic here. Several members of our teaching faculty have achieved continuing contract status this fall. In fact, there's 10 of them. So on behalf of the district, I'd like to congratulate them and thank them for choosing Sartell-St. Stephen School District to work in. One thing that kind of came out today, and I know we've noticed this a little bit along the way, is that there's a little bit of a supply chain issue with respect to food service and delivery nationwide. So the impact of the pandemic, is reaching us in terms of the supply chain there, and the product unavailability is uncertain. So to share with the public, some of these disruptions and lack of availability of raw ingredients, labor, to produce, to unload and load things, transfer products safely. These includes food and beverage products that are normally here for our students that we can count on, may not be available as scheduled. So due to unforeseen circumstances and last minute menu changes are probably going to be happening at times with substitutions that'll be in line with our normal FDA approved processes. So again, be assured that meals are going to be balanced, healthy, plentiful, and we just ask for patience as we wait through that process. The other thing I wanted to share this evening is that if we're ready to show it, Josh, are we ready to go with that? Some of you may know that we have a class here led by Joe Schulte on Habitat for Humanity home, and they're doing some pretty incredible work. Joe shared the video with me a couple weeks ago, and I asked him if it was okay if I shared it publicly, and he said, yeah, he already did. So we wanted to show it tonight for the members of the board and for the public to see for yourselves some of the cool stuff that's happening. And it is right outside. If you leave tonight, you want to walk by it. It's pretty impressive, and I'm really proud of our kids and our teaching faculty are putting it together. So want to hit it?
Anyone? end block at 42 feet to be the same height as the beginning block. So I have assigned each one of them a block. So I would need a 25th of an inch for this. When I hear that. A fourth of an inch. Okay.
And then shimmy up 1 3/4, and that way should be good to go, even with the center block.
Two of our beams weren't long enough. He's actually making or creating an I-beam extension. He's making two that are just a little bit long.
All right, so we're going on braces here. It does its job, it supports it. Everything's at 45 degrees.
Okay, so we are day 2 of training progress. We're full tilt right now. Nail one off complete before you move, okay?
How many for sports or auto race?
Yeah, that's something I really felt strongly about showing, and I'm really proud of the kids and the teachers. They're doing stuff that I would only have been doing in high school. So we'll continue to provide some updates, and some of those things will be shown online periodically as they continue with the project. And again, I encourage folks to take a look. And it's a little dark now, but you have a chance to swing by the side of the building and see the progress. It's pretty incredible.
Very cool. Any other discussion, questions yet for Jeff? All right, we'll move on then to the district finance report. Oh, you're up. Good evening.
All right, it's not a ton to share this month. The September financial report is posted, and you can see what the budget to actuals look like on those. We're basically tracking along about where we'd expect to be through September. One positive thing as I look at this is that community service is way ahead. Spending wise, we're way ahead of where we were last year, and that's a good thing because we had programs going all summer that were shut down last year. So all the youth sports and youth enrichment programs were back in full swing, and they had a great summer of all that activity. So that's good to see reflected. A couple of other updates from a budget and operations standpoint. In September, we approved our preliminary levy. It was about 3.5% at that point, and I mentioned how the state makes some adjustments throughout the month. We had to approve it at maximum to give us the flexibility with that. And it actually ended up going down a little bit in the state's calculations between our board meeting at the end of the month. So it's 3.14% is our total levy increase that we'll be looking at approving. We'll have the truth and taxation meeting in December, and we'll be looking at approving after that before December 31st. And then this time of year is always when we are working internally on our audit. So a couple of you may have gotten phone calls or asked to meet with any of the auditors. The in-person field work and all that stuff took place within the last couple of weeks. And they will be presenting the results of that at the November board meeting. So we're getting that process in the rearview mirror, which is always nice this time of year. We can move on to planning for next year. So from a finance perspective, that's kind of where we're at. On the operation side, we continue, Jeff mentioned the meals and some shortages we have there. We're really at the mercy of our suppliers with those, and all of them are experiencing difficulties with getting the supply that they've ordered. Mostly a logistics issue for the most part, but yeah, that's been an issue with schools nationwide and with restaurants and everybody else too. So not a real surprise, but with some kids on special diets, our nutritional services team is really working hard to make sure that we're meeting all those demands and making sure we're also meeting special diets, accommodating for allergens and all those types of things. Staffing continues to be in areas of food service, transportation, maintenance, kind of a constant now throughout the year, and kind of always in a constant hiring cycle since the start of the pandemic. So some of those positions, we've just experienced a lot of turnover. We've had some decent success filling those and getting quite a bit of applicants, but we still pretty much constantly have openings in those positions as we go about. And like Jeff mentioned, playground is getting installed Thursday and Friday. We'll have a bunch of volunteers out there, a bunch of parent and staff volunteers, so feel free to stop by and throw some things together or just say hi. Any questions?
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Moving on, we'll look at the COVID-19 report.
Very short this month. First, I wanted to let you know that you'll see an omnibus today that we have hired a COVID testing nurse. There were federal funds available specific to testing, so it had specific parameters around it. And we did hire a nurse who's going to give us kind of varying hours per week. She will start optional staff testing beginning tomorrow. It will be every Tuesday. Currently, like I said, this is optional, but in the event that President Biden's plan goes through and OSHA makes testing mandatory for all unvaccinated staff, we will have the ability to do so. She will also be able to take some additional, she's a regular sub nurse for us, so in any downtime that she has when she's not doing testing, she'll be able to take some of the workload off of our nurses, who we all know have been extremely busy since the beginning of the pandemic. So I just wanted to alert you to that, and so you know why it's on the agenda. Additionally, the district is going to be changing its notifications for COVID positive cases. As you know, currently we are sending notifications to close contacts saying specifically that you're a close contact, and then to the entire class every time there's a test. And it's caused quite a bit of confusion. And again, in talking about the overworking of our nurses, they're fielding phone calls all day long. The general notification that we're sending out is not even recommended by the Department of Health. We just started doing that this year, thinking it was a good idea, and we learn as we go throughout this, and it's not. So instead, we're going to continue to do the close contact notification, but then we will move to doing what we would do for influenza or strep or any other infectious disease. And if there are 3 or more positive cases in a specific classroom or 5% positivity in a building, we would send out those general notifications, and that's in a 2-week time frame. So we're really going to move to the general notification going out only when we are looking at high numbers, instead of alerting parents weekly when their kid may not have actually had any close contact. The close contact letters will still go. So just wanted to let you know that in case you notice that change after MEA break or whatever it's called. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll ask.
Oh, wait.
Just
I'm back.
clarification, just because somebody asked me, in regards to notifications, we have not been doing any notifications for transportation contacts.
We have not been doing any and this would be similar. We would go to if there were 3 confirmed cases on a bus, or if there were 5% of them, I guess it would be the same. It would be the 3 people on a bus, because there are no close contacts considered because everyone is masked. So this would follow now the same thing that we're going to do for classrooms.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, school board committee reports. Do we have any?
We did have policy committee right
yeah,
before our
right
last work
before. Oh,
session,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
happened since our last
Yeah,
meeting.
for sure.
No, that's good. At policy committee, we did adopt the MSBA, like the new memorial policy, just clarifying what things are allowed on school grounds. I know we've had some issues with that, and so just clarifying what memorials are allowed, what isn't, and how the school will interact with those. I think everything else we moved on.
Right.
So we discussed some other things, but they've all been tabled and kind of pushed out. So we're still tackling some of those bigger policies. And
Excellent.
anything else, Pat?
No, I mean, I was just gonna note, Jeff already talked about it, but one of the policies we talked about was 206.
Mhm.
We didn't make any changes to 206, but we talked about procedural changes, mainly having people sign up online, just because it seems like a better system and a better process instead of trying to do the cards. The paper cards made sense when we had a small number of people signing up for open forum, but since we've had so many more people signing up, we thought it made more sense to do an electronic sign up, like a lot of other districts around us do. So just adding that little piece on what we were discussing.
Yeah, and just to go back to 206, we did review that one like 6 months ago. We did like a full review of it. And there was some discussion at that point as to the wording in there as to, do you remember resident, citizen, person,
Right.
those kinds of things? A lot of that is left up to our discretion as to who we want to allow to speak here. And so we have reviewed that, we had discussion, and I think ours actually doesn't even match MSBA because we changed exactly how that was. So that has been reviewed by policy committee, just to make sure the board knows. We had an extensive discussion about that a few months ago, so.
Good. Any other discussion on that or any other topics? All right, sounds good. And we'll move on to action items, and I will look for a motion to approve the personal omnibus resolution. So moved. Second, motion by Jason, second by Matt. Any discussion on that? Not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2 is the approval of revision of policies 401, 404, 418, 419, 420, 422, and 504. So I'll look for a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Amanda, second by Pat. Any discussion on those? Not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion then is just our future work session is going to be November 8th. So make note of that. Monday, November 8th, we did move that. So just to make note of that, and that'll be here at the high school in this room at 5 o'clock. And then our November board meeting as well will be here at 6:30. And our December board meeting will be here as well. And then we'll be moving back to districts just to kind of keep people, for those of you that are attending, want to make sure you kind of know where we're at. Those will all be put online. Official adoption of policy 908 as well. So this is there for discussion. So any additions to any of those? Excellent. Just as a follow-up discussion item, I did talk with SSCF about working with the food truck and the coffee truck, and we're working on that. So we'll get those dates out to you as soon as I can. Any other discussion? If not, I will look for a motion to adjourn. Second. Motion by Tricia, second by Jason. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.